Hello everyone, welcome back. So, I mentioned this in the Paranormal Tag video that I was thinking about doing this, so I thought, why not? So, this is the Paranormal Tag. It's old. I got it from Graveyard Girl back when she used to have more of this kind of content. So question 1, how old were you when you had your first paranormal experience? I was very young, and I was living at our log cabin that has since been torn down and has an entire block of houses on top of it because they used to be big 5-acre lots and now it's a tiny little subdivision full of a gajillion houses with itty bitty yards. And so it's long since gone, but we used to have a log cabin, and in there was a ghost, and I distinctly remember always feeling watched for the longest time, and it just always that creepy feeling. And you would just feel like somebody was just watching over you. But one night in particular, I think I was around like 4. I was really small. I was sleeping in my parents' bed, and I had woken up for something, and I kind of sat up between them, and I looked over, because it was obviously their bedroom, so the master bathroom is just like right there. And I looked over, and there's this ghost lady standing in the doorway, and you couldn't see her feet. It faded, so that like where her feet were, it was just normal vision, and then you could kind of see through her, and she was in this old kind of dress and had like a messy bun and like gray white hair and just old, you know, and just kind of dressed in like an older fashion, not like 1800s old, but just like there was a particular style that people born in like probably the 19 teens and like probably like, I don't know, I'm guessing around that age, because it was the 90s when this had happened, and she had passed away probably 80s or 90s, and so decades, and I don't remember how old she was, but she was, I mean, the dude we bought it from, it was his wife, and she was older, and I've kind of confirmed it years later, but at the time, she was just in like an older kind of like floral patterned dress, and she kept saying, come with me, and I was freaked the fuck out. And I woke my mom up, and I was like, Mom. And she didn't see anything, but she's had paranormal experiences, and she's freaked out, and was like, okay, honey, we're just gonna go to bed now, because oh my god, I can't deal with this at like 2 in the morning. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was middle of the night. And so that always freaked me out. Anytime I was in that bathroom, I was like, I know there's a ghost lady here, and it stuck with me forever. I don't think she meant anything by it. Number 2, have you always believed in ghosts? Obviously. As long as I can remember, yeah. Number 3, where is your favorite place to investigate? So I don't do a lot of ghost investigations, really. I've never really had the inclination to. After living in a haunted house, I don't need dead people meandering around my space. The most I will do is more of a witchy sense, and I will invite my ancestors in. They're welcome to come in, so long as they have no ill intentions. And most of our sacred ancestors are the more recent ones, and I know for a fact that they wouldn't be having an issue. They don't care. Like, they knew me in life, and they're just here to check in and see how things are going, and then continue on with their ghostly ways. Question number 4, what is your favorite investigation tool to use? I don't really investigate much, but when I want to commune with a spirit, I find that pendulums are the best tool to use, and so that's kind of been my go-to. And it hasn't always been like my official pendulum either. I have used, like, for example, when someone had passed away, I had actually used their watch as a pendulum, and it worked just as fine. Number 5, what is your scariest paranormal experience? So I think the scariest one, the one that really freaked me out, was that me and my mom were living with my aunt, and we had like the basement area, and they had the upper floor, and I was home alone. Either people were at work or hanging out with other friends or whatever, because my aunt had kids too, and I had just cleaned my room, and I was really proud of myself, because like cleaning your room is an accomplishment, especially as you're a kid. And like I had it all vacuumed, and you know, you could see the lines on the carpet, and I was just admiring my work that I'd finally done it all by myself, and I had cleaned my room. And I was sitting on my bed that I had just made, and I was just admiring the magic that was I cleaned my room. And again, I was home alone, and I felt the bed as if somebody was underneath it, and they were pushing up on the mattress really hard. And that freaked me out. I really assumed that it was a ghost instantly, because again, I had lived in a haunted house before this, and that was what my grandpa and my mom and anyone who stayed in one particular room always had felt. And I was freaked, and I glanced under the bed and I was like, I don't let the cats in my room because I'm mildly allergic. And so I was like, they're not in here. And I was like, are my cousins just like being assholes like they usually are? You know, like, what is it? And I looked and there was absolutely nothing underneath my bed. And I had a day bed, so it was a big gap. I didn't have the mattress underneath it. So, I mean, you know, it's a like couple feet of just space under your bed. And you could easily see the vacuum lines that I had just made. It was undisturbed. There was nothing. There was no footprints anywhere. Because again, I had just vacuumed. And you could see when people would walk on freshly like vacuumed carpet, it would start to mess up the lines. There's nothing, and I had the door shut the whole time anyways. And that freaked me out so bad. And I was convinced that now my house is haunted, my room is haunted, some ghost is stalking me, and I was freaked. Number 6. What is your favorite paranormal experience? I think my favorite paranormal experience happened shortly after my grandmother had passed away and her husband was still here. And we were talking with him, and he lived in an assisted living place. He moved in with her when she needed to go into one and just kind of stayed there for the like 6 months that was left of him. We had been talking and my mom was saying, what in the world is this going on? Do you see this? I have no freaking idea what this whole thing is going on. Anyways, so I had been talking with him and my mom, and she was saying that, you know, we want to go to Disney because, you know, she doesn't want to miss out when she can and be like my grandma was, and when she got too old to do Disney. And my grandmother, I'm very convinced, just banged really loud on the wall. Now, in a nursing home, typically, like, you don't do that because, like, you could give literally somebody a heart attack. And so we looked at each other. I instantly got up and, like, quickly went to the door, opened it, and looked out. And there was absolutely nobody. There was no residents, no workers, nothing. And again, who would be banging on the wall in a nursing home, you know? Like, really hard. Not just like... And it sounds bad, but they're old. They don't have a whole lot of strength. Like, think of like the police department, like, open your door banging loud on a wall. And it kind of, you could feel the vibration of it. And it was like, okay. But it was just my grandma being like, shut up. And it's like, it's crazy, but that's one of my favorites. Just her like casually listening in on our conversation and like complaining about it. Do you know anyone else personally who has paranormal experiences? Yep, my mama. She totally has a lot. She has a lot of stories as well. Number 8. Do you have trouble convincing friends and family about your paranormal experiences? I typically don't tell people that I know won't believe me, because that's just like a wasted argument. And so I only will tell the people really that I know are down for that kind of a conversation. Like, I'll tell my husband, he's witchy, he's into this kind of stuff, so he's like, sure, that's weird, but okay. Because he's also a witch and is like, huh, cool. And my mom as well, same thing. She's very into it and it's just like, okay then. But like, I wouldn't tell like my dad or my siblings because they're not really into that kind of a thing. Number 9, your favorite paranormal TV show or movie. I loved Haunted History. It used to be on the History Channel and it was my favorite. I would watch that every weekend because it usually would air on like Saturday mornings. And I think by that point it was even just reruns. Don't care. I loved them. They were fantastic and I would love to binge all of them again. I think some episodes are on YouTube and I don't know if you could like watch them other places anymore. Trying to keep up with streaming services for older shows is just kind of a pain in the butt. Number 10, what would be your dream place to investigate? I don't really do a lot of investigation-y stuff, but if I could commune with a particular like dead person, I would probably want to go to the place where like Scott Cunningham's ashes were spread and try to contact him specifically. I don't know that that would happen. Or same with Tiptoe Chick. If I could contact her directly, also valid option. Question 11, do you prefer to investigate alone or in a group? I prefer mostly alone, but I like to have the safety in numbers aspect of it, in that like you need somebody who's actively like checking out for like real world danger. Because I mean, if you're investigating in like a cemetery, like there's weirdos out there. And so you need somebody who's like actively in the here and now watching for people being mischievous. And then also somebody who is able to kind of help hold space if you can as you're doing your communication and stuff. And so kind of, but for the most part, I don't investigate, so it's not a big deal. Question 12, is your home haunted? I wouldn't say it's actively haunted, but again, I allow my recently dead ancestors to come and go as they please. And so I don't care if my dead decide to come in and cause some mischief. I mentioned this before, but like my altar table, randomly, me and my mom were just sitting there one day and somebody just banged really loud in the middle of it. And like she's had experiences from like anywhere from like we've had our cameras catch like our pets, like our past pets on camera. We've had like tinkling on glasses as if like the dog is like their collar's hitting like the glass bowl, and no animals in sight near it. Like we've just had random stuff happen and we're not really opposed to it. I've just set up a lot of things so that it's only those that we allow to come in. And if they want to haunt us, that's fine. Like, again, if my grandfather wants to stop by and say hello, that's totally fine. My grandparents, they're allowed to and such. But like random strangers and like, you know, people who have had like not great history and like I don't know them, but there's a lot of hauntings in the town that I live in, they're not allowed in because like I don't know who you are. So no. But my dead are freely welcome to come and hang out whenever. Question 13. Have you ever had any paranormal experiences with animals? I mean, of course, you always have cats and dogs watching things that aren't there and growling at something that isn't there. There's been a couple times that my dog will just start freaking out at something that's not there and like go to like a specific chair, and it'll be like, well, again, with my stuff that I've got set up, it's like, well, somebody came to say hi. And, you know, we've had experiences, like I said, where we've caught, like, our pets on camera, and so, like, a little bit, but honestly not too much with pet life. Anyways, that is it for the paranormal tag. I would love to hear your answers for this one in the comments down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day. Thank you to my patrons. I do have a lot going up this month on Patreon, so make sure to check it out over there, patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.